Hi, my name is Jonathan Hicks. I'm at Essenspiel 2019, and today I'm joined by...
Mark. Yes. And Lotte.
And we just finished playing Final Hour, which in theory is like an hour-long version of Arkham Horror. It's a sort of streamlined, simplified version, but you have all the usual Arkham Horror characters. I was Rita Young here, and you kind of run around on the map trying to deal with all the monsters that are spawning in various places. You have these gate locations, these symbols are the gates, where the monsters spawn, and they're kind of tearing up the town. All these crosses are places where they've damaged the locations in the town, which prevents the monsters going there, so they keep advancing. You can see there's like red arrows and blue arrows. Some of the monsters are red and some of the monsters are blue, and when they have an arrow on, they're going to move effectively along the various routes. And they're all going to coordinate, if you like, and end up in one particular location. It varies from game to game. But this is the sort of crucial location that you start at, and if you end up with 4 monsters, effectively if this fills up, then you lose the game. So you're trying to keep on top of all the monsters to stop them moving around and getting to this particular location. You can put barriers down here which sort of blocks them and kills them, takes them out as they try and get through the barriers, and then the barriers are destroyed. That's quite nice. But what are we trying to do? Well, at the same time, we're going to go around looking for these investigation symbols, and on the back of these they have certain symbols. Now 2 of them are removed at the start of the game, and we're trying to identify what those symbols are. Every time when we investigate a location, we get to add one to the appropriate sheet, which narrows down the possible combinations. So that's kind of what we're trying to do. How do you actually play the game? Well, everyone has a deck of cards. This is Rita Young's deck, and you look at the next card, and essentially there's 2 abilities. There's like a top ability, which is generally going to be good. In this case, it lets me move, and then attack monsters at my location. That does 3 damage. And then to the bottom ability, which is kind of necessary. Usually it involves investigating. So in this case, move once and investigate. That's where you flip these over and hone in on what they are. But also the bottom thing tends to have a bad thing as well. This is activate monsters in the green area, so locations 1 to 5. So you can see it's like a green area. So any monsters in these areas will then activate and do their thing. So in this case, the blue monster would move along the blue track, although this zone is full, so it would move down to here and fill the space here. But you can see it's kind of getting closer to the danger zone here. So you're choosing, do you do the top or do you do the bottom? But how you make a choice is interesting. So everyone looks at one of these cards secretly, and then you look at your priority cards. These cards are going to do 2 things. Firstly, they determine order of play. So I might decide I want to go very early, which would be a 4, or maybe I don't want to go so early as a 27. But let's say I choose to play the 14. Then everyone else also chooses to play one of the cards, and then we reveal them, and we go in like player order here. But the first 2, the lowest 2 numbers, get to do the top half, the good half, and whoever's last, the last 2 if you like, will do the bottom half. But you don't really know what everyone else is going to be doing, because you don't quite know what number they're going to play. You can't talk about what number you're going to play. So that's how you decide in the actions. Some of the cards have these omen symbols on, I think they're called, and then at the end of every round, after you've all played your actions, you can sort the particular card here. We were against Cthulhu, and depending on how many of these omen symbols you have here, there are certain bad things happen, the kind of dark one phase if you like. So you can see in this case it might spawn extra monsters, they might activate, but generally that's going to be bad things happening. So you play over a bunch of rounds. Each round a new gate spawns, which makes new monsters come out, which is like a timer for the game. But once it gets to the end, you then hopefully have narrowed down what you think these symbols are. And you then take these cards, which also you notice have these symbols at the top right, and you're trying to get as many of the hidden ones as possible. And effectively you each contribute a certain number of these cards, and if you get enough, in this case we needed 8 to win, you kind of flip these over at the end, and if you've got enough matching ones at the end, you win the game. If this fills up obviously before that, you lose the game, or if you don't get enough matching symbols, then you can also lose the game that way. Alright, so what do we think?
I think this was a decent, if I wouldn't say wholly original, cooperative game. Ultimately, it was a lot of firefighting. It might be because it's like our first game of it, but because of the amount, like the speed at which monsters spawn on the board, what they're doing, adding destruction tokens, a lot of the time you're going, we really just need to deal with this, and so you spend less time ultimately trying to complete the mission, but I guess that's the point. The card mechanism for player order was nice. but it's like sometimes you got the number you want, so you get the power. It's like I can afford probably to do the poorer action and give people the better actions, because you can't discuss what people have, so it makes it kind of tricky to go, well, they might be really good at this turn and getting rid of monsters for us. You're not allowed to discuss that, so ultimately it's like, I'm looking at the modern game, I think my good positive isn't good enough to be worth doing, and my negative isn't bad enough to worry about affecting the game by doing it. Past that, I'm not sure how much variability other than the actual great old ones there are. I suspect a lot of the game's going to play out reasonably similar, but it was quick and it was fun if I didn't feel a lot of the time I was cooperating, which makes it, for a cooperative game, not as good because you can't have the table talk. It is a bit of luck a lot of the time, or ultimately led by what you've got in your hand. Sometimes you've just got a hand of low numbers, so you're going to have to do the time option. So you can be hamstrung because of that. I think ultimately for me, it's a game, happily play a game, but I'm not sure it's one I'd pick up.
Okay.
Yeah, it felt a little bit, the theme felt a little bit put onto this game. But I like the game. I'm really surprised about it because I like the way we choose up or down. And what's not that good is that sometimes I had to do things that I don't want to do. I spawned monsters all over the place because of unfortunate numbers. That felt really, sometimes the game played myself and I just was putting around the tokens. But I'm really looking forward to play another game to see what another old one did. But it's not an Arkham game I'll normally like. But I'm really surprised. I want to play it again. Next one.
Also, it's an Arkham game. It doesn't feel like an Arkham game because there's no the narrative part of the game. You play the game, but it could be placed in any setting. So you know the characters, but there's no fluff for them. And also it says a cooperative game. You don't interact with the other players very much. I like the game, but it feels as if there's missing something. And as in a normal Arkham game, you have a few old ones, so I expect expansions for this game.
Okay. Yeah, it's a funny one, this one. It is definitely a light co-op, essentially, although, as they say, it doesn't feel very cooperative, which is strange. It does very much, as Jens was saying, feel like the game plays you to a certain extent. There aren't a lot of decisions that you really need to make. Most of the time, it's, do I want the better one? Like, do I really want the better ability? I'll go with a low card. If not, I'll just go with anything. It doesn't matter too much. Having said that, I mean, it has all the Arkham Horror characters. You are running around trying to kill the monsters, so it kind of feels like Arkham Horror in that sense. It's certainly short, it's simpler, it's faster. If you want a light version of Arkham Horror, this kind of fits the bill, and I think that does a reasonable job. Just bear in mind, not a lot of decisions to be made in this one. Alright, thanks for watching. That was Arkham Horror Final Hour.